You know, it's always a great thing when you can go into a film and when it's done, it actually meets your expectations. My name is Brandon Keith Avery, and this is just my opinion. Hey, what's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Just My Opinion for my movie review for Those Who Wish Me Dead, which is on HBO Max and in theaters right now. And if this is your first time finding me and you happen to like the video, please give me that thumbs up and consider subscribing. So when it comes to this film, Those Who Wish Me Dead, when I first heard about it, I had no idea what it was about, but I did check out the trailer, and the trailer was really good. It did pique my interest, especially with Miss Angelina Jolie attached to it. Now, I am not a diehard fan of Angelina Jolie, but I am a casual fan, and when I look at her filmography, I'm a fan of pretty much all of her work. I don't think there's too much that was really disappointed about, but I can't say that I was like over the moon with a number of her titles either. I mean, I'm a casual fan, like I said. Now, this is also being directed by Mr. Taylor Sheridan, who was nominated for an Oscar for his screenplay for Hell or High Water, which came out a few years ago. And on top of that, he also wrote and directed Wind River, which I believe came out in 2017. If you haven't seen any of those films, please write it down, treat yourself, because they're really, really good and worth your time. And also, when it comes to films like this, in my opinion, they seem to be forgettable, but I don't think I'm going to forget this one. I think I'm going to remember this one for quite some time because, one, it was good. It makes my expectations, but also it had a great cast to it. Now, like I said, we have Angelina Jolie, which I just spoke of, but this gentleman right here, Finn Little, by the name of Connor, he did a great job in this film. He had me all in the feels. We also have Jon Bernthal, who was in The Walking Dead and also the Punisher series that was on Netflix. Aidan Gillen, who was in Game of Thrones and also The Maze Runner, The Scorched Trials, and that film series right there. Nicholas Hoult, who is the Beast when the X-Men were over at Fox. Jake Weber, Tyler Perry, and I'm a fan of Tyler Perry, even though I did crap on one of his last movies. And also this sister right here, Medina Sanghor, and I've never heard of her before, but she is a standout in this film as well. You guys should check her out. She was one of my favorite characters in this movie. And that's one of the things that I really did like about this movie is the characters. But before I get into all that, let me tell you what this thing is all about. A teenage murder witness finds himself pursued by twin assassins in the Montana wilderness, with a survival expert tasked with protecting him, and a forest fire threatening to consume them all. Now, this film is rated R. It clocks in at 1 hour and 40 minutes. I think that's a perfect runtime. And like I was just saying, one of the things that I love the most about this film is like the first 30 minutes of this movie, they're focusing all on the characters, all of them. They're focusing on Angelina Jolie's character. She had a tragedy a number of years ago and it's haunting her. And that is one of the things that drives her forward, wanting to protect little Connor from these twin assassins. We also have Jon Bernthal, who is a sheriff, and we kind of get to know where he comes from, what's important to him, and what keeps him motivated as well. And even they develop the villains as well. I don't like crappy villains. I don't think anyone does either. But we got some nice lines of dialogue. They're ruthless. They're cold-hearted, they're evil, and they're not playing around. And when it comes to the villains, the antagonists in my film, I do like that a lot. I want them to be unapologetic about everything up their sleeves, and they did deliver the goods. And so like the first 30 minutes of this, you're just getting to know everybody, all the pieces on the chessboard before everyone starts attacking each other and trying to seize the day. We also have two other characters in this film that really don't have names, and that is Fire and Lightning. And yes, there are a number of forest fires in this movie, and they have a strong presence. They also have some lightning too, and I don't know if Thor or Storm from Marvel was in this, but they were throwing down lightning bolts as well. I mean, it was quite interesting, and I'll talk about that in a second as well. And that's the thing, when you have movies, TV shows, entertainment, I mean, not everything has to be super duper complicated or convoluted, and this film is not. I mean, Connor's dad is an accountant. He's a forensic accountant, and he found some numbers that are really not adding up, that is going to expose a ton of people. And when this comes out, these assassins are sent after him to kill him. And they do. I'm not spoiling anything because that's in the trailer. And Connor is left alive to try to survive, and Angelina Jolie is coming to save the day. simple plot, but one of the things I loved about it is just the execution. I mean, this had me at the edge of my seat. And another thing is I like the surrounding environment that we got within this movie. And that is something that director Taylor Sheridan does really well. You know, his film Wind River that he directed a number of years ago, that has to do with in the wilderness as well, in the mountains with a bunch of snow. Hell or High Water, that is in the country, you know, the desert, and this is in the forest. So he's taking advantage of all of his skills and showing that a bit on the silver screen, or at least in this case at home on HBO Max, and he really does knock it out of the park. It's also kind of meta with the dialogue, because when Connor is conversing with his dad, when they're driving through the forest at the beginning of the movie, that is one of the highlights in his lines of dialogue in the film. He's like, I like it out here, and I like it too. I mean, there are a number of beautiful shots in this film. The cinematography is popping, and I absolutely loved it. I'm not necessarily an outdoor type of person. I'm not opposed to it, but this motivated me to want to go hiking or camping. And that's just something that I typically have never been into. I'm more of a suburb city guy, you know, country, dirt roads in the wilderness, mountains. That's just really not my cup of tea. But when you can have a film like this that piques my interest, that makes me want to step out of my comfort level, I have to say they're doing a really, really good job there. And that's all over in this film. And going back to the characters, I really did feel for Angelina Jolie. I mean, she had a tragedy, it's haunting her. And, you know, sometimes you can't change. I'm going to say sometimes you can change the past. You can never change the past. All you can do is move forward and use those past horrible experiences as a lesson to push you forward. And that is one of the main things that she does in this film to get her to succeed. And I loved it, and I ate it all up. And when I was speaking about that other sister just a moment ago, Medina Senghor, my goodness gracious, I don't want to spoil everything that she had to do in this film or what she was dealing with on a personal level. You just have to see it for yourself. But this sister right here was coming through with that strength, and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was super dope. I was like, yes, go on, girl, get it. All right. I mean, that's how I was on my couch. So if you have me screaming at the screen again, that's just another thing that this film does very, very well. And the action is great too. I mean, it was some brief shootouts, some brief standoffs, and I liked it. I mean, these villains are really coming through with the heat, and I loved every moment of it. And I, no pun intended, because, you know, they have to fight the villains, they have to fight lightning, and they have to fight fire. And I just feel so bad for Connor, because, I mean, he does not know who to trust. He does not know where to turn. He does not know how he's going to make it. And his acting really showcased that. I mean, he really did a great job. But I was saying to myself, like, damn, I really feel sorry for this kid. I really just want to hop in the screen and give him a big, big hug. Now, only thing that I can really gripe about is, I talked about the lightning earlier. I may have to go back to elementary school and really understand how lightning works. But they was kind of doing some extraterrestrial stuff in here with the lightning. I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, how can you predict where lightning strikes and try to dodge it? I didn't know that that was a thing. That kind of was a little weird, but that's like really my only complaint in this film. Now, I could kind of nitpick here and there with how it ended, because I don't want to go as far as saying that it was anticlimactic, because when it did end, I was satisfied to the utmost degree. But when there was the final showdown in this movie, which was executed with great precision, I was kind of saying to myself, oh, we're already here at the end. I thought that there would be just a bit more build up to intensify things, and I wanted a little bit more, but again, I just was not disappointed. I mean, it's a great film, guys. I really did enjoy it. This guy is running through the forest, trying to dodge lightning, trying to get away from fires, with Angelina Jolie on his tail with two assassins that really just don't give a damn and want to kill everybody, and they won't stop until they do. You know, and the brief cameo from Mr. Tyler Perry was nice too. I wish he would have had a bit more to do in this film, but, you know, hey, it is what it is, and, you know, he didn't do anything bad, so I really can't complain there. And so, I mean, I hope this is not hyperbole, guys. I really did enjoy this film, and off the top of my head, this is one of the better films that I did enjoy throughout the year. You know, it's definitely up there. I don't want to say number one or top three, but it's definitely a top 10, maybe top 5, because I mean, I just really did enjoy it. I don't think everybody is going to enjoy this movie as much as I did, but maybe because I watched it at home. But you know, I really did enjoy it. But guys, that is just my opinion. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Please subscribe to the channel. And if you want to see any of my other videos that I have posted recently, like my Saw review, you can go ahead and click right here. And if I had to rate Those Who Wish Me Dead out of a 1 out of 10, I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. Yes, an 8.5 out of 10. But guys, again, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. And before you go, don't forget that my name is Brandon Keith Avery, and that's just my opinion. Peace.